think about that, Chris, I could not remember his name at the first of the show. I could not remember. Chris, it's on there, it's Cantrell, McCartt. Chris McCartt, City Manager, Kingsport, Tennessee. Recently, just this year, they had some restructuring in the office earlier this week, but we really wanted to talk to him about the ballpark. And, well, you know what I think about this. I mean, I just told it to him, that years ago, 1990, we were the same market size as Las Vegas. And now Las Vegas is the 39th largest TV market in the country, out of 210. By the way, Vegas was 90th and the Tri-Cities was 92. Okay, so we're not the same exact, you know what I'm saying here. Okay, we're approximately the same. Now the Tri-Cities is 102 and they're 39. How did this happen? Now I can imagine, hey, it's Vegas, glitz and glamour and all. I get that, okay, and we're kind of sleepy in not kind of, we are sleepy in comparison. However, and this is very important to discuss here, and this is very important, the way Vegas, Oscar Goodman, who was the mayor, then really made a pitch of, I want Vegas to be a big major player city, and to do that, I think we need more than just UNLV. I think we need, major pro sports. They're getting the Raiders. I hate it, but they are getting the Raiders. And they had an expansion team, the Golden Knights, and in their first year, they played for the Stanley Cup. And they've been good, ever since. I mean, and, Vegas always was a fight town. UNLV won a national championship. I really started noticing this, I guess, really became interested way back. I mean, I was a younger man in the 90s. And Jim Weaver was the athletic director at UNLV, 91 to 94. He actually was the AD after UNLV won the national championship in basketball in 91. But he applied for the ETSU athletic director position when Janice Shelton left to work for the Olympics. Went eventually to Keener Fry, but he was their fourth choice. And the UNLV AD was a finalist, but he took his name out. And then he went to Virginia Tech and took that team that program, I should say, from, say, the Atlantic 10, where they were in basketball. Now they're in the ACC. So tremendous growth there. I always wondered, what could Jim Weaver have done with ETSU? I've written about this. Could he have brought in Raleigh Massimino as a coach? It's theoretically possible. Could he have brought Jerry Sandusky as a coach? That's also theoretically possible. I mean, you want to look at both sides of the coin. So there's a lot of things you can consider there. I think, why did Weaver take him out? He's deceased now, so I guess we won't know. The idea, though, I might think, is that it's a bit more of a small-time mentality. I want a more cosmopolitan area. And I told him, former Johnson City Mayor Pete Paduch once said that, how do you grow cities? How do you grow metropolitan areas? Low taxes and cheap labor. He's got a point. Thing is, do you want to be part of that cheap labor? No. No, you don't. Low taxes you like, cheap labor, not so much. And so what else? And I just look at what I used to read Sports Illustrated. I'd see Oscar Goodman. He was the mayor of Vegas. He's now, I think, head of visitors committee. Oscar Goodman would, talk to sports talk shows. Vegas is the greatest city in the world. He's actually from Haverford, PA. I used to live in Haverford, PA, okay? The one Penfruit supermarket that wasn't shaped like the mini dome in Johnson City. Okay, there's a reference that only a transplant from Philly would get. All right, just so we'll not even focus on that. We'll just move on. But still, he would go and he would promote on sports talk shows. This is a place to, yeah, absolutely. And so Las Vegas then became the AAA affiliate of the Dodgers. They'd have baseball games. The A's, for whatever reason, had to move some of their games. One year, they moved them to Las Vegas. They played Major League Baseball games there. They played the NBA All-Star Game there. They'd probably like to forget that they played the NBA All-Star Game there, but still. Now, I also do remember when the Utah Jazz in the 80s played a select amount of games in Las Vegas, and there was some talk even then maybe of Vegas coming in. Back in those days, it was, oh, we can't have a pro sports team here in Vegas. There's too much gambling. Now, attitudes have changed. I mean, even the Pittsburgh Steelers, their stadium is across the street from a casino. You can literally bet on the game at the casino and then go to it. You couldn't do that until just recently. So the attitudes on gambling have changed and all this. I'm not suggesting that I want slot machines in the churches. I am suggesting that I would like to see a more cosmopolitan Tri-Cities, and the way I think to do that is through sports. I think it's the one thing, it's the Bible Belt. We're not going to have slot machines in the churches, okay? Even if you thought that would make it more cosmopolitan, we're not going to have that. Bigger ball club, new arena, pro hockey here, maybe, yeah. And then the area doesn't seem so sleepy. I mean, things to do around here. Walnut Street in Johnson City's dead. The Party Row is dead. It's not there. It's like as if Bourbon Street that's going a long way comparing old Walnut Street in Johnson City to Bourbon Street in New Orleans. But imagine if Bourbon Street just shut down. That's what happened to Walnut Street in Johnson City. And gotta have something, keep the doctors occupied, if you will. Mention the Appalachian League. Okay, every town has a team, but, it got the last game of the year here. Who's starting for these teams? I mean, if it's the last day of the season in Major League Baseball and two teams are fighting for a flag, remember when they could do that? Remember when I was fighting for a flag and not a wild card? Remember that? But if it's the 7th game of the playoffs to go to the World Series, you know what the pitching matchup is. Who are these pitchers? You can say part of that is on me, but it's very difficult for me to get information on these teams. I've tried. And emails aren't returned, phone calls aren't returned, And I hate it because I would love nothing more than to promote the Appalachian League, but ultimately the Appalachian League always will be kind of high school rivalry feel at best. Kingsport versus Johnson City, Elizabethton versus Bristol. It'll always be that. And it won't be Bristol, Elizabethton, Irwin, Kingsport, all coming together as the Tri-Cities to support a team, like let's say what happens with ETSU or Tennessee or something like that. And I think that that's a failure. I mean, it's every man for himself, take what he can get almost mentality rather than come together, which is what a pro sports franchise is supposed to do for your community as well as give it identity. There is an identity really with the Appalachian League, with the Tri-Cities at large, but there is for individual towns. And while I do understand, it's nice that you flip over the back of the baseball card and you see first year for an Elizabethton Twins ball player, where's Elizabethton? That is decent marketing. Still, that's just, Anyway, but I've talked about that a lot. Joe Rexrode, like I said, coming up at 1 p.m. as well as coming up at 1:15, Jim Shouse, Commissioner of the Southern Conference, talking about the football season coming up. Who's going to be doing what? This sort of thing. Want to thank all our sponsors of Unicoi County football this year, including Health and Home Care, from CPAP machines, crutches, hospital beds, all that. Health and Home Care. Unicoi County Gas Utility District. You know what I always tell you? I like gas stoves. When they're on, they're on. When they're off, they're off. None of this cool down burner thing, and then you're my hand! No. There's something to be said for gas stoves. Irwin Paint and Body Shop, professional work that's certified. David True Company. Triple J Auto. They're on the corner of Main and Love in Irwin. I need to check them out. Maple Grove Restaurant in Unicoi, they're advertising healthy salads we could really use. Indeed. Everybody not talking more healthier eating, and here you have Maple Grove. Let's face it. No, we don't want, where shall we eat? What about Lard City? No more. Although there is one supermarket, there is a delicacy here that I'm going to tell you about anyway. But comfort foods, I used to be the broadcaster of the Alexandria, Louisiana Aces. And all due respect to East Tennessee barbecue, there's probably not a state in the country that is more known for cuisine than Louisiana. Think about it. At a restaurant there, remember they would say, we're Louisiana comfort food. Well, jambalaya. Now that's pretty darn healthy, but it's comfort food as well. What delicious dishes do they have at the Maple Grove restaurant in Unicoi? They're right off the interstate there. We'll find out soon. Food Lion. Here's now, I say that, but there is a time to indulge. And so if you like potato chips, who doesn't? And if you like dip, who doesn't? All this talk about Food Lion, new supermarket. Food Lion is the only supermarket in the Tri-Cities that I can find that has bacon and horseradish dip. Okay, I'll just put that out there. I love it, and all this. Haven't had it in a while. I mean, you got it, moderation, obviously, but Food Lion right there, you want to check that out. They've got a Food Lion in Irwin on Main Street, centrally located right there between exits 36, 37 on the interstate. When you get on Main Street, right next to the car dealer, Neighborhood Ford, who is also a sponsor of Unicoi County football this year. They'll find the car that you want, but there's also a Food Lion for our Johnson City listeners in North Johnson City on Roan Street. And don't forget Jake's Heating and Air, professional service, free estimates, Jake's in Irwin. Of course, Food Lion not the only supermarket in Irwin. There's a new Food City, and we welcome then. Kickoffs are sponsored by Food City. Liberty Lumber, hometown hardware store. They support the Blue Devils and have for a good long time. When we come back, Appalachian State and ETSU are playing each other, and you know what? Billy Taylor is talking a little bit about it, and there's a bit of a feel. I'll talk more about this tomorrow as well. The one that got away. A lot of talk about, ETSU won their first conference in 49 years last year, tied for the SoCon title. 37 seasons. Well, yeah, what about those 12 that didn't play? It's still holding the Bucks back. We'll talk about it after this. Tri-City Sports Now.
GMC of Bristol has the vehicle and the deal you've been waiting for. Step up to the professional grade of GMC trucks or experience the affordable luxury of a Buick. Buick offers the perfect size SUV for you and your family. Whether it's the Encore, Envision, or Enclave, Buick has the right fit for you. Come by and experience the new GMC Sierra pickup. From its distinctive grille to its multi-pro tailgate, it is professional grade. Test drive one today in a friendly, haggle-free environment. Crabtree Buick GMC, located off I-81 at Exit 5 in Bristol.
The Starlight Lounge presents an evening with the Progressive Box.
Oh, what a great audience. Let's dim the lights for this next one. Nope, too much. There it is. Gotta get things just right. Like Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Tell us what you want to pay, and we help you find coverage options that fit your budget. And now, the mood is right. Wait, the lights are back on again. Trudy, can you? And now it's completely dark.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
I'm John Waters from the WEMB Weather Center. This afternoon, chance of showers, maybe a thunderstorm, a high